This is In the Trenches, Broadcast 1.
Welcome to In the Trenches, where entrepreneurs, artists, writers, designers, inventors, warriors, and leaders share their stories of doing the hard, creative work that impacts all of our lives. Let the journey inspire you to do something worthwhile, build something bold, and create your life's work. And now, your host, Tom Morkis.
Welcome, everyone, to the first official broadcast of In the Trenches. For today's broadcast, I merely want to explain what the show is about, how it will help you, and why I'm doing it. Plus, at the end, I'll share a little bit about myself. Before I get started, you can find the show notes at www.tommorkis.com/broadcast1. That's the number 1. So what is In the Trenches? In the Trenches is a bi-weekly podcast series meant to inspire and motivate you to do creative, important work. Every broadcast, I sit down and have authentic conversations with game changers, status quo challengers, and creative insurgents. Individuals who write, draw, produce, publish, create, break, build, invent, and lead. All the people I interview are actually on the ground making things happen. They're in the thick of the creative fight, working to produce something epic, bold, and unconventional, day in and day out. The individuals I interview are all people trying to create something unique, build something epic, and do something worthwhile. Each day, they go to work doing the tough, painful, and scary work of creating something new. Each day, they struggle to create for the rest of us something that impacts all of our lives, deeply and meaningfully. And each day, they add to their vast, growing resume and portfolio of incredible content. But they don't do the work to build a portfolio or to create a resume. They do the work because it matters, to them and to us. These artists, writers, entrepreneurs, warriors, and leaders struggle and strive day in and day out, doing the hard creative work, not because it's pretty or glamorous, it's usually not, but because it's part of who they are. They truly are in the trenches, and the world's better for it. None of these conversations are pre-scripted, and for the most part, they're unedited. And these are all rough takes. They're gritty and authentic conversations with real people doing real work, and I think you'll enjoy them. So that's a little bit about In the Trenches, but how can it help you? Well, the goal with each conversation and with every broadcast is to give you a deep, meaningful, and authentic look into the lives of people who impact our lives with their work. That's why I don't read from a script, and I don't edit the dialogue. I want each conversation to feel like you're right there with us in the coffee shop, listening in on some incredible stories and conversations. It helps, too, that every interview is someone I highly respect, and often it's a good friend. There's something very real about a personal conversation. Something gives you true insight and real emotion that gets lost on cookie-cutter talk shows or pre-rehearsed interview series. So I say all that to say this. The podcast is designed to inspire you to make something worthwhile, to get you to instigate and create something meaningful, and to finally get you to lead, truly lead, and make an impact, one that's even greater than the stories you'll hear in these conversations. Which means, if you listen to these broadcasts, you have an end of the bargain to uphold yourself. And that's to do something awesome, and to let me know about it. I'm waiting for your responses, by the way. So why am I doing this? Well, first, it's selfish. I love creativity and art and business and philosophy and leadership, and I love talking about these things. So getting to know these wonderful people and hear their incredible stories really motivates me to keep doing the hard creative work. Even if I wasn't recording these conversations, I would still be having them on a consistent basis, because deep down, I need to hear these stories and know there are others like me fighting the creative war in the trenches right beside me. So for the most part, it is selfish. But the second reason is entirely unselfish. The second reason is because I want to share what I know with you guys, and I want to share these interviewees' stories with you. I'm doing the podcast series because I want to share these incredible insights and stories with like-minded people. People like myself who love this stuff and like nothing better than to really get inside the brain of creative, successful people. I think of it as my contribution to the creative fight, that I can somehow, through these podcasts, help you in your creative struggles, that I can keep you from going off the metaphorical ledge into the pit of I never did anything with my life, and instead inspire you to create something incredible. Real quick, something incredible doesn't have to be conventional art. It doesn't mean painting, writing, designing, etc., though it can mean this. It doesn't have to be this. Yours something incredible could be raising an awesome family like my parents, shout out to mom and dad, or taking over the family farm and working the heck out of it every year because you love it, or even deploying overseas because country and duty really truly means something to you. So no, doing something incredible doesn't have to fit into a box. And that's kind of the point. And so finally, a little bit about myself. I'm Tom Morkis. I'm an idea alchemist, a wordsmith, and a general instigator. I grew up in the Chicagoland area with 3 brothers and 3 sisters and went to high school in Michigan. In Michigan, I played a bunch of sports, but was never very good at any of them. I took a lot of AP classes, but again, never scored very high. But one thing I did do was run an insurgent campaign for school president, and I won. And this phase of my life taught me how to lead rebellions effectively. After high school, I decided I wanted a challenge, so I went to West Point. It's a pretty tough school, and definitely not for everyone. My sophomore year, I came in second place in a school boxing tournament, and after that, I ended up joining the boxing team. This phase of my life taught me commitment, grit, victory, and more importantly, defeat. When I graduated, I commissioned as an officer in the Army. Part of my service landed me in Iraq for a year, where I led a gun truck platoon. Every night, we went outside the wire to lead and secure convoys as they resupplied neighboring bases. This phase of my life taught me what real, honest-to-God leadership actually means, and you won't find it in a textbook. And now I'm here with you today on this podcast, In the Trenches, sharing stories and struggles of entrepreneurs and artists, writing on my blog, www.tommorkis.com, so that you can ship your great project, and working on my next startup. I'll let you know more details soon. And that's really all I have to say about myself. So thank you, first and foremost, for listening. I appreciate your time and attention, and I swear I won't waste it. Check back next week for the beginning of a life-changing series. I really hope this series inspires you to create your life's work. And whatever you do, don't stop creating. This is Tom Morkis. If you're listening to this, you are the resistance.
Thank you for listening to In the Trenches. Your creative work doesn't stop here. Join the Resistance, the small but growing army of entrepreneurs and artists putting a dent in the world at www.tommorkis.com. Never fight alone. Join the Resistance.